Adrian, are we good?
Huh?
Are we good?
Yeah. They need to come up here.
I'd rather not. 1 second to game. One's like I think.
Yeah, bring him in.
Okay.
Get them lined up, my guys, line up. Mimi. Oh, yeah. Mimi, let's go, Mimi. Let's go, Mimi.
Fellas, let's go. Come on.
Guys, line up.
Come on. We gotta go.
Ladies and gentlemen, a pleasant good evening and welcome to Reese Stadium on the campus of Yale University for this evening's NPSL North Atlantic Conference matchup. As tonight, Osner's FC take on your New Haven United FC. As the players walk out, let's meet the starting lineups for both teams. First for visiting Osner's FC. In goal, wearing 1, Uli Elien. In the field, number 3, Mason Colo. Number 7, Watts Landy Leazar. Number 8, Duhamel Mimi. Number 13, Mish Nader Cherry. Number 14, Kerwin Mondesir. Number 18, Marvin Mondesir. Number 24, Khaled Daoud. Number 44, Carlos Martinez. Number 77, Edgar Guzman. And number 80, Christian Aragon Ruiz. And now the starting lineup for New Haven United FC. In goal wearing 0, Justin Hess. In the field wearing 2, David Rosen. Number 4, Andre Casas. Number 6, Alexi Armas. Number 9, Santiago Serrano. Number 13, Samir Dishnika. Number 14, Renford Morgan. Number 21, and your captain, Tyrone Malango. Number 22, Ryder Mills. Number 23, Preston Alessio. And number 25 is Agnaldo Germano. The head coach of New Haven United FC is Clarice Capillari. Ladies and gentlemen, we ask you, if you're able to, kindly rise and remove your caps for the playing of the national anthem. fans, and enjoy this evening's match.
And a pleasant good evening, everybody. You're watching a presentation of New Haven United FC Soccer here on the New Haven United FC YouTube page. This is an NPSL North Atlantic Conference matchup as Osner's FC make their first trip here up to the Elm City to take on New Haven United FC. This is the fourth of 5 home games in the league this season for New Haven United in their inaugural NPSL campaign. JJ Duke here with you. Thanks for spending your Wednesday evening with us. We're a little bit delayed here this evening as there's an absolutely horrible car crash that was on I-95 about in the Bridgeport area, which is why a lot of people actually from both sides, the Osner's FC team and a number of New Haven United players and yours truly was also sitting in that accident for the better part of an hour and a half or so. So this evening's proceedings being delayed by about 15 minutes, but we're just about ready to get this one underway. New Haven United haven't played in a week and a half. The last time that they were on the field were up in the Capital Region in New York State, taking on the New York Shockers, and they lost that game by just the slimmest of 1-0 margin. So just with only a handful of matches to go, New Haven United, who are currently now sitting second in the table, 3 wins, 3 losses, and 1 draw. Points are at a premium right now, but the good news is for the hosts, they're playing teams that are below them the rest of the way. Osner's and then American Soccer Club New York, both home and away. Meanwhile, for Osner's FC, who are 2 wins, 3 losses, and 2 draws, the last time that they played was against American Soccer Club, actually the second of 2 consecutive against that squad. They won that match 2-1, scoring twice inside the first half hour. They ended up seeing their opponents go down to 10 players right before halftime. But the thing to watch out for this Osner's club is that they're going to give up a lot of goals, and they're going to give up a lot of goals inside the final 15 minutes or so. Kind of doing a little bit of research on this squad, and they score 11, which is about the middle of this conference, but conceding 14. 7 of those goals that they've given up have come in the final 20 minutes of matches, and they've also given up 8 goals while leading in matches, and they've lost 7 points because of it. So this is a squad that can score with the best of them, but they're also going to concede with the worst of them. And it'll be Osner's in their purple and orange fluorescent jerseys going from left to right on your screen. New Haven United in their home white jerseys going from right to left. We're just about ready to go here for this evening's contest. Once we get this one underway, we'll give you the starting 11s for both of these squads, but officially 20 minutes behind originally kickoff schedule. We're about ready to go as looks like the New Haven goalie Justin Hess removing his towel and putting it onto the opposite side of where it's supposed to be. Now we're good to go, and we're underway in what is the penultimate home match for New Haven United FC. The team news for both of these squads. First, for visiting Osner's, Guli Elien is in goal. Then numerically in the field, Mason Kolo, Watts Lande Leazard, who's one of the top scorers not only in NPSL North Atlantic Conference action, but also in the UPSL as well. He's got 10 in that league. He wears 7. Duhamo Mimi wears 8. Mish Nader Cherry, a name that's pretty familiar for USL Championship fans, as he played for the Oakland Roots last year, appearing 30 times for that squad. He wears 13. Curran Mundasir wears 14. Marvin Mundasir wears 18. Khaled Daoud, who was a standout in this league last season for New Jersey United AC, who were in this conference, now playing in Keystone East. He wears 24. Carlos Martinez wears 44. He's making his debut for the club this season. He will be operating, I believe, in the midfield. Edgar Guzman wears 77. And Christian Aragon Ruiz, he was a late addition to the starting lineup. He wears 80. It was supposed to be Anthony Serge Lucien in the lineup, but he had to come off late. Chance now for Preston Alessio, the Connecticut Gatorade High School Boys Soccer Player of the Year, but he was dispossessed, and Osner's will try and break out of the back. The starting 11 for the hosts mentioned Justin Hess in goal for Hess. He is making his 3rd appearance of the season, but first time that he is in the starting lineup is Alex Henrich, not available tonight, so he is going to get the go. Then the rest of the starting 11, David Rosen in the back. Andre Casas also making his debut, the Stetson defender in a ASUN all freshman selection. He wears 4. Alexi Armas in the midfield wearing 6. Santiago Serrano, the Mercy University product, up top wearing 9. Samir Dishnika, 13. Renford Morgan, 14. The captain, Tyrone Malango, wears 21. Ryder Mills, 22. Preston Alessio, 23. And Agnaldo Germano in the back wearing 25. These two teams met all the way back on May the 11th. That was actually New Haven United's first game in organizational history. It was a 4-1 victory where all players that scored in that match not in the squad this evening. Pau Santanach, Dren De Bruyne, Lucas Almeida, and Lucas Silva all finding the back of the net. Meanwhile, for Osners, it was Marvin Mundasir. Then there was a penalty that was saved late on as Elien coming out of his box. A little bit dangerous by the goalkeeper. It was New Haven trying to press. Malango forward, but it's intercepted. Big crossfield switch that was cut down well by Casas, who appeared in nearly 20 matches for the Hatters in his first season, also playing his club at the youth level for Inter Miami. Not a great pass, though, by Hess out of the back, and it'll be a throw-in for Osners. The thing about this Osners club as well, this is their first season playing in NPSL. This is a club that's based heavily within the Haitian community in both Queens and Brooklyn. Actually, really on their website listed out of Brooklyn, but they're playing their home matches this season at Belson Stadium on the campus of St. John's University. But a lot of these players are pretty familiar names for those that are kind of dig within the weeds of CONCACAF. There's a number of players on this roster. More on that in a moment as a giveaway now. A chance here for Leazard, but his effort gets deflected. Comfortable for Hess. A lot of players on this team played for the Real Hope Football Academy, or Real Hope FA. They've been in CONCACAF Champions Cup each of the last 2 years, qualifying through the CONCACAF Caribbean Cup. This is a squad that is not only very well seasoned in terms of playing high-level matches, but they're also a team. There are a lot of guys that played on teams that are playing against some of the best in the region. A handful of them playing against the likes of Boston FC and I believe it was Club Leon a couple of times. So not exactly to say that these are players that are unaccustomed to the highest of standards here in North America. But this Osners FC team playing both in NPSL and UPSL. That ball ended up staying in. It will be out for a throw over by the corner flag. It'll be taken by Kerwin Mundasir. Then there's also a handful of players on this Osners roster that also play within the CUNYAC, which is a Division III conference based all across New York City. As that ball cut out well read by David Rosen, the University of New Haven product, as Malango gives it away, though. A chance now for Cherry. Good tackle, though, by Germano just to slow him up. Comes back to Mishnader Cherry. Here's that player that I was referencing before that played for Oakland Roots in the USL Championship last year. That's going to be a free kick as Malango goes in hard. There'll be a set piece now for the visitors into the 6th minute. And watching some of the Osners FC matches and the build-up to this is a team that will play very direct at times. So they got a couple of big target men to aim to, one of those being Watslandi Leazard. Former Haitian under-20 international, also has experience in the USL Championship as Leazard with FC Tulsa. It'll be Christian Aragon Ruiz who will stand over this one. Hess is asking for just 2 players in the wall. Not a bad ball to the back post, and the header just flashing wide. That was a good chance for Edgar Guzman. Got a good leap to it, but just a glancing header goes wide of the mark. But a little bit of a warning sign for the hosts. Edgar Guzman now, okay, so even we go a little bit further in terms of players who are maybe a little bit more of known entities from elsewhere. One of a handful of players that played for Club de Leon in Niza over the last couple of years, the National Independent Soccer Association. But with that league suspended their operations for this year, this is a home for a few of those players. There's a chance now for David Rose, and the flag has stayed down. That cross takes a deflection. It'll be out for a corner. We had one set piece one way, now a chance on the other for New Haven United. That was a good ball played down the channel for Rosen. It was cut out well. It'll be Dishnika who will preside over the set piece, the Cheshire, Connecticut native, by way of Clemson. Played a handful of matches for the Tigers last fall, and then part of the NCAA championship team and ACC tournament champions back in 2023. There's 6 players in the box for New Haven United. This swung to the near post and beat the first man. Comes back out to Armis, a low drive that's blocked behind and out for another corner. We certainly know that Alexi has that in his locker. Scored already this season. Armis, that was back in the home opener against Hartford City, the first of 2 victories against New Haven United's in-state rival. Currently running first in the conference. Better ball this time. Keeper gets a piece of it. Eventually able to cover. Dishnika, much better delivery that time. Elien able to hold. Then trying to launch that over the top. But Armis, cool and composed as you like, takes it down. And now New Haven again will start through the midfield with Dishnika. He's got a switch with Alessio. This will hang up. Preston with 2 in the box. Chops to his right. Looking for options. Plays short. Dishnika. Oh, it's really well done. Able to dig out a cross, but ended up actually hitting the crossbar. Down for a goal kick. Preston Alessio very recently getting awarded the Connecticut Gatorade High School Boys Soccer Player of the Year after a standout season for Avon. High school, or excuse me, for TAF, my apologies, for a player that was the High School Prep Player of the Year and an All-American, going to be attending UConn in the fall. And Alessio once again on it. A stunning goal in the last home game for the squad against, again, Hartford City. This ball bombed over the top, but Elien, easy take. And rolled out towards Mondesir. Leazard. Well read, though, by Dishnika. Now to Serrano. Santiago Serrano. Played a handful of matches this season. That ball is kept on, though, by Elien, who will look to play quickly. Now Myson Colo. Another player by way of Real Hope FA. Put in a handful of matches over the last couple of weeks. Leazard in the middle now for Guzman. But again, a good tackle from Alexi Armis. He's really shown himself out to be arguably one of the best midfielders in this North Atlantic Conference this year. Just that guy that's going to put in the extra miles, do all the little things that don't necessarily show up in the box score, but ultimately coaches across this division have really been enjoying, albeit when they're not playing New Haven United, but enjoying the efforts that he puts in. Telegraph pass, though, that Cherry is able to intercept. That cross deflects off Germano, and that's going to be a corner to come. So a couple of set pieces now for Osner's FC. That's Merwin Mondesir who will take it. An outswinger. But again, Osner's with 6 in the box to aim for. First time ball cleared away. Second back into the box from Kerwin Mondesir. Speared straight up into the air. Now New Haven, well, they could have tried to break, but the wasteful ball from Ryder Mills, and Osner's will reset. Talking with Claudius Capillari, who, like so many of us, are trapped in traffic getting up here. But briefly, a conversation with him, still dealing with the number of players unavailable due to injuries. But now for the fact that New Haven United are not actually playing 3 times in the space of 8 days or so, is able to possibly get his squad just a little bit more healthy as the offside flag comes up on Cherry. And probably get a fair few more players coming back for that next match as New Haven United will finish the season with matches against American Soccer Club New York, and then they'll go back down to American Soccer Club. division this season with just the 5 teams in it. You play some teams home and home, and then some teams you play 3. It's Armas. Lovely clip to this near side for Alessios. Malango's now bombed forward. Preston trying to find him. Good recovery. Malango able to win it right back. Tries to nutmeg Colo. But a veteran defender like Mason Colo's not going to be beaten like that too easily. Now Naldo Germano is going to go back. Another big switch. Malango trying to lead, but not able to bring it in. He'll be out for a throw-in just below us. So New Haven won't be playing on the weekend. Their next match won't be until their final home match of the season against American Soccer Club on Saturday, June 28th, and then play the end of the season against the aforementioned American Soccer Club over in Hofstra. That is the way that New Haven United finish off this season. They played teams that are strictly below them in the standings right now. Lovely spin away by Renford Morgan. And this is where, with this division being so close right now, between 1st through 5th, it's 12 points at the top with Hartford City, and then 7 points at the bottom with American Soccer Club. But American Soccer Club actually have 4 matches still left to play. They'll make up both matches in hand on New Haven United before the 2 squads meet next Saturday. So there could certainly be a lot of things that are going to change between now and then it could be all to play for. As someone like myself who has called matches in this conference for now 4 seasons, I've never remembered it to be this close. And likely it's going to go down right to the final day of the season in order to determine who's going to be the number 1 seed for the conference playoff, which will start in the 2nd week of July. As Hartford City have done well when they've played teams that are not named New Haven United FC. You've had Osner's, the way that they've gone about their business against an American Soccer Club, where they've won twice, lost once. Against the Shockers, tied twice, lost once. The New York Shockers this year, they're not a team that's going to be broken down all that easily, but they're also a team without Filippo Bellew and his scoring outputs from last season, hitting double-digit goals. They haven't been really finding the clutch goal this season, but they've been able to start grinding out results, and that's something that could be a problem for a number of these teams, especially with the amount of experience that club has, as they've won the conference postseason title twice in each of the last 4 seasons, and getting all the way to the East Region final last year, and also getting themselves a spot in the Lamar Hunt U.S. Open Cup. It's been a long old season, actually, for the the Capital Region New York side. As Hess's ball was charged down well, but it will be a New Haven throw. As we're into the 15th minute, no score here from Reeve Stadium. JJ Duke here with you. Thanks again for spending your Wednesday here with us. Rather humid. It's not like we had from the last couple of days, which was gray, dreary, rainy, and 50, and then supposedly, I think on Sunday, it's supposed to be like 92 degrees, so we're not getting any sort of happy medium. Just playing it as it is. We were expected maybe to have a little bit of weather before tonight's match is done, but end all be all. It's not a bad night for soccer. Also a concert going on just down the road over at the Westville Music Bowl, so adding a little bit of a background noise. By the way, a blast from the past. I just saw someone walk in here with an Elm City Express jersey. Shout out to the team that got NPSL soccer going in the greater New Haven area, as that squad won the league title back in 2017, made a little bit of a run in the U.S. Open Cup. It's a good interception by Serrano. There's options to either side. Dodges around a tackle, gets it out wide. Chance out for Ryder Mills, who scores! Ryder Mills getting New Haven the lead here in the 16th minute.
New Haven United FC goal in the 16th minute, scored by number 22, Ryder Mills.
Well, it all comes from the interception by Santiago Serrano, then a lovely little scoop ball out wide, and Mills doing the rest, finishing with a plum, and that is his first goal of the season. Mills, of course, a man who plays his college soccer right here at Yale University. Player that didn't feature at all last year in Kylie Stannard's squad, but 11 matches played in the 2023 season with a couple of assists, the former FC Cincinnati product. And the youth academy set up. And for a New Haven team that scored, can't say early and often, but once they got the goal scoring started against Osner's back early last month, it really started to pile up. So with the Osner's team that is susceptible to conceding goals, it could be something where if you're New Haven, try to press a little bit high, just like they did there between Dushnika and Serrano, good things will happen. As Armas plays that around the corner, it's a lovely ball. Could be a chance for a second here as Colo trying to recover. He does so well. Mills was active. It's going to be a throw right over by the corner flag. Talk about the scoring balance, though, for New Haven United. They don't have any players within the top 5 in the conference in terms of total goals this season, but the balance has been absolutely beautiful. This is now 9 different players that have hit the back of the net in this regular season. 2 goals each for Pau Santanach, Dren de Bruyne, and Guillermo Mirel, and a goal each for Lucas Silva, Alexi Armas, Owen Bull, Preston Alessio, and then the aforementioned Ryder Mills. And also can't forget about own goal, because that one has contributed one as well this year. That was the home match against the Shockers. Of course, kind of the running joke from the last men's World Cup in 2020 in Qatar was own goal was leading all scoring through the group stage of that competition. A sight that we never really thought we'd have seen. Good defending there by Casas as he goes back. Morgan. Mills. Looking at Mish Nader Cherry, looking a little winded right now. Hands on hips a little bit after chasing down Justin Hess. And that was a late one on Morgan as Edgar Guzman gets whistled for the foul. So doing a little bit more on Mish Nader Cherry. I mean, talk about capitalizing on an opportunity when it was there. So he was playing for Violet Athletic Club, Haitian forward as well as Mish Nader. In 2023, he scored against Austin FC in Major League Soccer to knock them out of the competition. In fact, actually had a double. And then scored twice against Club Leon in Liga MX. Immediately, Oakland Roots signs him almost on the spot for the 2024 season. And all Mish Nader did last year is basically play every match for the USL Championship side. Serrano bends that in towards the area. It's cleared away. And then translated that after the conclusion of the USL Championship season to go play in Vietnam for a bit and then comes here to play with Osner's. Chance now on the opposite side of the field. Good step by Rosen, but he loses out. And it's a brilliant save from Hess. Gets just a piece of it to put it around the post. Osner's, though, maybe a little bit against the run of play, nearly pulled it back. There still will be a corner to come, however, for the visitors. That was Khaled Daoud, the man that I spoke about earlier, who had an outstanding season last year in NPSL North Atlantic action. Towering header that's cleared off the line. That was from Leazard. Comes back out to Aragon Ruiz. Another good ball in the header, just wide of the mark. This time it was Mish Nader Cherry going close. But you don't need to give either him or Watts Lendy, Leazard all that many chances in front of goal. They'll make you pay for it. Talk about that save, though, from Justin Hess. That was an outstanding point-blank stop after it looked like David Rosen did enough to take the ball off of Khaled Daoud. NJIT product is now New Haven trying to go route one here. Well read, though, by Duhamel Mimi. And it goes back home to LEN. Good press from Dushnika. Kerwin Mundasir kind of slipped a little bit as he triggered that one. Now New Haven will come back with it with Renford Morgan, who's been a steady presence in the starting 11 for Pleiades Capillari this season. Morgan has started every match and has most of the time gone the full 90. Good work by Preston Alessio. And actually, they're going to bring this one back here, as it looked like our official was trying to let that build, but a little bit of a late toe in there from Kerwin Mundasir. Referee thought about it for a moment, but Masinkolo deemed to have won that ball fairly. They've been asking for a handball. Oh my goodness, what a goal! Mishne Der Cherry take a bout. As New Haven were asking for a handball, but you don't give him all that many chances, and he scored from near 35 yards out, and it's 1-1.
Osner's FC goal scored in the 23rd minute from number 13, Mish Nader Cherry.
Well, you're not going to find too many goals better than that one for the former Oakland Roots striker. There's now Cherry, his 6th goal in the league this season. And again, we're talking about a league that you only play 10 matches in the regular season, but that might be the most special of them. I mean, what he did, first off, when he was challenging for that ball, he noticed that Justin Hess was way off his line. I'd say one thing to just acknowledge where the goalkeeper is, but actually to pull that one off. This header destined for a corner isn't a corner, it is, as Skuli Elien try to save it, but it'll be now New Haven United immediately on a set piece. They always say that you're most vulnerable right after you score a goal. That's what New Haven United are trying to do here, is it'll be Preston Alessio who will swing this in. Casas trying to knock it down. He's able to get it back here. Scrambled away from Mimi. And now a chance here for the visitors to break. Christian Aragon Ruiz. He leaves it for Leazard. He's got Cherry busting a gut to get into the area. It's a needed touch, though, from Renford Morgan. If he doesn't get there, Cherry's probably in. And now you can see the amount of players from Osner's who are down behind the play. Again, this is where the visitors, they like to play direct, and they will hit channel ball after channel ball and try to just run you right into the ground. But it was a good recovery that time by the New Haven midfielder. Audible yell from Duhamel Mimi, winning that ball in the air. It's now Daoud. NJIT product is Khaled, Brooklyn native. Played 8 matches for the Highlanders last fall in America East. Bison Colo, that's not the direction he was looking for, and that will go straight for a goal kick. Area from Hess, but a better winner. Now Osner's go through the middle. Carlos Martinez wearing the number 4 jersey. That's a bad giveaway as Alessio. Ooh, now the referee's got a decision to make here. There was contact. New Haven United asking for perhaps a clear and obvious goal scoring opportunity, but it is going to be just a yellow card. It'll be on Carlos Martinez. A set piece now on a good scoring opportunity. Yeah, look there for a second. I think it was Santiago Serrano who might have been played through on goal. Yeah, it was Serrano, but I think what the official was saying, first off, where that ball was played, it was in an area where there was going to be eventually some sort of cover. And also the possibility of a goalkeeper that could have gotten it, but nonetheless, it's going to be a yellow. Now a chance here for New Haven United off of a set piece. Now, we've seen in previous matches Dren De Bruyne score from this sort of distance. Not in the squad tonight, so it'll be the Alexi Armas or Dishnika to take it. It's Armas. Certainly got his laces through that one, but right into the wall. Rosen. Daoud. Martinez comes here with Kerwin Mondesir. Oh, it's a good dummy from Cherry, but no one was there to follow it up. Unlucky for him. It looked like it was coming off. So set what the subs are for Newell at home the next time ball goes into touch. This is a big ball out of the back from Agnaldo Germano. Better touch, though, from Preston Alessio to keep that on. Trying to beat Mondesir. Edgar Guzman, though, getting stuck in, able to win it off of him. Ruiz. Now Martinez. Ruiz once again. It's really nice here from the visitors. Ball over the top to Cherry, and he's done it again. Mish Nader Cherry at the double here inside of a half hour. And it's New Haven United 1, Osner's FC 2.
Osner's FC goal, his second of the match, scored by number 13, Mish Nader Cherry, goal in the 29th minute.
I mean, that's what, again, happens when you have a man in good scoring form finding a way to score. It feels like anytime the ball is played to his feet, he could just put it on frame. It's Mish Nader Cherry, now his third goal in his last 3 matches. Actually, if you even extend it just a bit further, all 7 of his goals have come in the last 5 matches this season. Scored twice against the Shockers just after Memorial Day, then scored twice against the Shockers again in a 2-2 draw on June 1st. Scored once against American Soccer Club in a 3-2 loss on the 7th of June. Then in their last match, he was actually held scoreless, which is kind of strange to say, but the third time this season that Mish Nader Cherry is hit for 2. Now just extending his lead in terms of the best goal scorer in the North Atlantic Conference. But again, a man of his quality who's scored against the best in all of North America, whether it is the CONCACAF Champions Cup or also playing here in USL Championship and overseas. That's the separation between here and a full-time professional level. It's just that half a yard, the half a step. You can make a defender pay for it, and that's twice now he's actually made the goalkeeper pay for it, but Justin Hess not being on his goal line. But at the end of the day, those are world-class finishes. Hess has to be quick with it. Goes with Casas. Morgan. And a slip as well. A bit of a break for Renford Morgan because saying with Christian Aragon Ruiz being on top of him, that's where the foul comes in, but it wasn't for the slip. Serrano. Oh, that's a bit of a late one there on Mason Colo. They'll be brought back for a free kick. Down to the 32nd minute if you're just joining us here on the New Haven United FC YouTube page. New Haven taking the lead on a goal in the 16th minute from Ryder Mills, and then 2 goals in the space of 6 minutes from Mishnader Cherry for Osner's FC. One in the 23rd, one in the 29th, both lobbing Justin Hess in goal from at least 30 yards out. Samir Deshnika putting it into the box. Not a bad area for Germano. Good leap, but it's going to be cleared away by Marwin Mondesir. Now once again the visitors can break, and Aragon Ruiz is in here. There's no one within 20 yards of him in a white jersey. Christian Aragon Ruiz, he's got options with them, goes for goal. It's a well-timed block. A corner to come, but certainly for the visitors it could have been a lot better. I wonder for Aragon Ruiz if he squares it across. He had Watslandi Leazard at the edge of the area. Of course, the man that scored twice already, and Cherry at the back post. Nonetheless, it will be a corner to come now for the visitors. Not a bad area, and there's Leazard. That's a free header. Gets any sort of a good connection on that, it's probably 3-1 to Osner's FC. If you're Claudius Capillari right now, you have to wonder what's going through his mind at the moment, seeing his team get off to a fairly decent start, then 2 chances, 2 taken, and all of a sudden you're chasing, you feel like the momentum is gone just by the wayside. And New Haven again trying to play into the channel for Santiago Serrano. Safety first from Duhemo Mimi. It's going to be out for a throw. Serrano, the Mercy University product, Division II level, first team all conference there this past season. As Mills bounces around a tackle. Morgan, hopefully a little 1-2. Trying to link up with Alessio, intercepted. Mills, that should be a foul. And the referee now whistles. Really well done there from Ryder Mills. First linking up with a couple of his teammates and now drawing a set piece and what can be a good distance, especially for a right footer. A better 30 some odd yards out from goal, but still. Test what Gouli Elien has in net. Up on 10 minutes or so left here in this. Well, it's been a pretty exhilarating first half. I've seen Alexi Armas earlier from more this half of the field, this side of the field, I should say. Take one, but put it right into the wall. The referee's going to repaste that off again. The official doesn't have the magic spray on him. It would be a good time to probably break that out, but just going to eyeball it here. Elian asks for 4 in the wall. It's going to be Deshnika. It's not a bad effort, but it's right at Elian. For the first time, we're not seeing Osners try to play quickly on the counter, but Gouli gets a lot behind it. Well dealt with, though, by David Rosen. Serrano. Now with Alessio. Oh, well done. Goes right by Leazard. Casas, but the flag will come up. Now the referee realizes that the assistant put up the flag. The referee is now just telling some of these Osners players to start getting on with it here. Ruiz a little bit short for Martinez. Going to go back home to Hess. So anyways, the players on the bench for both of these squads. First for New Haven, Konstantin Jung is the replacement goalkeeper. Then in the field, Lear Gurion, Jans Alarcon, Brandon Carchapola, Guillermo Mira, Mohamed Kane, and Jason Price. They're more of a younger bench for Coach Capillari. Then for Osner, the replacement goalie is Anthony Martinez. Then we have Justin Rodriguez, Silnick Pierre, Santiago Hernandez, Juan Catano, Juan Peniagua, and Anthony Serge Lucien, who is again scratched from the lineup right prior to kickoff, as this is over the top to Cherry. And again, he tries for the audacious effort, but this time doesn't get the right connection. However, when you've scored twice from that sort of distance, you are earned the right to go for it again. Because if he gets all three of those to come off, then we're probably compiling all that and sending it to Bristol, Connecticut, because that's probably getting on SportsCenter. Doesn't matter what level. If you score 3 world-class goals like that, it's going to be seen somewhere. Malango's ball took a little deflection, actually nearly worked out to Shnika, but it instead comes back to Alessio. Mills around the corner. Rosen, ball blocked down. Back to Armas. Coaxes it into a good area, but Goulielien able to pick it cleanly. And there's that experience there from Elien, because Cherry was asking for it in the channel, but the amount of times that Osners have played direct down this near side, this, in essence, the right flank for Osners FC. Don't want to be overly predictable. Change your looks up a little bit. Because then you do something different once or twice, and all of a sudden you can go back and keep pinging it. This will be a throw for New Haven right in front of the Osners bench below us. That's a big leap from Morgan. He went over the top of the attacker. It'll be a free kick now. That was Edgar Guzman. See below some of the players trying to take on some liquids again, because of the fact that it is just super humid out here on this Wednesday. Big collision, but good hands by Hassengold. Now Agnaldo Germano ended up getting pushed by Aragon Ruiz. He has stayed down behind the play. Some of the New Haven players actually not liking that. You'll see it here now. There wasn't all that much into it. One of those where the Osners attacker really didn't need to go and attack it the way that he did, and this is behind what you're seeing right now. Renford Morgan is certainly taking a little bit of an exception to that one, as he went over to Aragon Ruiz and kind of, I guess lack of a better term, kind of put the stern warning to say, cannot do that to my teammate. Now both teams will have their players come over and get some fluids on board for the final few minutes of this first half. There's no other match that's going on in the North Atlantic Conference this evening. We've got one match on Saturday, which will be the Shockers hosting American Soccer Club. That is first versus fourth in the conference. Then Hartford City will be hosting this Osners team, who will try to deal with the traffic once again coming up from the boroughs up to the Nutmeg State. It'll be a scheduled 4 p.m. kickoff at Trinity Health Stadium. Actually, in the way that the schedule is listed, it is good to see Agnaldo get back up to his feet and walk off after the athletic trainer taking a quick look just to make sure he's all right. Hartford City actually play from Sunday through the following Saturday 3 of the next scheduled 4 matches. They'll play Osners, then they'll go down to Hofstra next Tuesday to take on American Soccer Club. Then while American Soccer Club plays here against New Haven on the 28th, Hartford City plays against Osners. What is the very tangled web of NPSL scheduling that is going to have to deal with it. It's not a jigsaw puzzle, it is a web. about a minute or so delay. It will be a drop ball back to the New Haven United goalkeeper. Probably anticipating that there will be a couple of minutes of stoppage time. I have to say, though, a really nice crowd here at Yale on this Wednesday night. Hoping that with Mother Nature cooperating for the remainder of this match, good show out from the local community in what is New Haven United's penultimate home match of the season. We hope to see you here next Saturday, 7 p.m. as American Soccer Club New York make the trip up north. There's actually a team, for those that are a bit more familiar with previous years in the NPSL, they have a fair few players from Kingston Stockade who, after Kingston elected to depart NPSL for other pastures, a number of players elected to come back this way. So that's going to be a yellow card. And that's going to be on Edgar Guzman in the 43rd minute, and another free kick for New Haven in a fairly advantageous area of the field. So Carlos Martinez and Edgar Guzman have both been booked here in the first half for the visitors. Is a shot from distance, high, wide, and not very handsome like from Andre Casas. He'll be out for a goal kick. I guess the old adage of you can't win the lottery without buying a ticket, and you can't score a goal without shooting, but with a little pressure from 40 yards out. It had to do wonders to beat a man who's played at the highest club level in the region, in the CONCACAF Champions Cup. Good touch by Deshnika. Better defending, though, from Duhamel Mimi. But he gives it away. Now Ryder Mills, he's got options with him. Mills holds it up. Bit too much towards Samir. Just about does enough to keep it on. He had Serrano and acres of space. Goes short to Rose, and it's out for a goal kick. But now the referee is going to have a word. Excuse me, no, there's a player down for Osner's. Happened a bit behind the play. The referee said no need for the athletic trainer to come out, so seems like that was Marvin Mondesir. Needed a second. Mondesir, the former York College product. Also ran track as well at York College. That's another one of those CUNYAC schools. Aragon Ruiz. And we're going to be into 4 minutes of additional time here in this first half, as this will go back home to LEN.
The referee has indicated there will be a minimum of 4 minutes of first half stoppage time.
Actually a little bit more than I thought, but probably with a couple of injuries in there, that's where our center referee is elected to add on a bit more time. Malango with the header, only back to Aragon Ruiz. Oh, it's composed there from Mason Colo. Cherry, back heel, ambitious, not coming off though, as Germano is there and the flag has stayed down for Serrano. Osner is asking for it, but he was about a good yard in front of the last defender, but a better recovery though. Now a chance here for Kerwin Mondesir to break with Watslandi Liazard. Will shrug off Alessio with ease. Cherry. That's going to be brought back for a foul as Malango can't believe it, but he's going to be going into the book here. A big screen from Watslandi Liazard. Tyrone Malango has picked up the first yellow card here for New Haven. That comes in the 2nd minute of first half stoppage time. And the New Haven United captain not all that pleased about that decision, saying that he was just trying to get position on the inside. It seems like Watts is all right, as he's already bounced back up to his feet. But it is going to be a free kick, though, in an area that we saw early on in this first half where it was Myson Colo who stepped over and swung in a really good ball. Or no, excuse me, it was Christian Aragon Ruiz, my apologies, that stepped over and swung in a good ball into a dangerous area. And we know the likes of Mishneder, Cherry, and Leazard who can get on the end of these dead ball deliveries. Is Ruiz towards the penalty spot header that's over the bar. Bet right now that the visitors, Osners, who again were sitting in all that traffic coming up here with about a minute 40 or so left of first half stoppage time, just trying to get into the locker room and then reset. As we highlighted their deficiencies at defending leads in the second half. Be surprised that the technical staff of the visitors are going to just look to try and set up shop and grind out 3 points, because again, how close this conference is right now. Hartford City leading with 12, and then American Soccer Club last with 7, but still with a handful of matches to go. It's not, a win in your season keeps going and a loss your season's done, but if you can't put points on the board up at this time of the year, you're putting yourself into a real troublesome spot. Martinez now going short for Leazard. It's a little delayed ball over the top. The flag has stayed down. There's a shout of a penalty, and the referee will point. There was just a little bit of a nudge from behind on Mishneder Cherry, and a yellow card has also been issued as well. That's to David Rosen. And just on the stroke of halftime, it might be an opportunity here for Osners to get one more. It was a lovely ball over the top into an area. A delayed run from Mishneder Cherry. Now, is he going to ask for the ball here? It's Watslandi Leazard who grabbed it. And he has given it off. So Mishneder Cherry trying to wrap up a first half hat trick here. Again, he scored in the 23rd, scored in the 29th, and now in the 5th minute of first half stoppage time, trying to make it 3-1 to the visitors. Remember, Osners had a penalty saved by New Haven in the opening match of the season, but that was Alex Henrich in goal then. An opportunity for Justin Hess to try and keep it a 1-goal game. Mishneder Cherry, it's 3. The visitors with 3 here in the first half. They're in search of 3 key points here in the North Atlantic Conference. That could be one big way for them as their talisman has bagged a hat trick.
Osners FC goal in the 5th minute of first half stoppage time, scored by number 13, Mishneder Cherry.
It has gone from bad to worse for New Haven United. I'm not going to say that it was a needless push from behind from David Rosen, but it was one that he certainly didn't need, and that's going to do it for the first half. The referee will blow up for halftime, and New Haven United, who started from in front with the goal by Ryder Mills in the 16th minute, then seeing a hat trick from Mishneder Cherry, who now ups his season total to 8 on the year. We'll step aside for halftime, rejoin you in 15 minutes as you're watching the New Haven United FC YouTube channel.
Substitutions for New Haven United. Entering the match, number 1, Constantine Young. Number 10, Guillermo Mira. Number 24, Jason Price. Replacing 0, Justin Hess. Number 2, David Rosen. Number 6, Alexi Armas. All subs happening in 46 minutes.
And welcome back here to the New Haven United FC YouTube channel. JJ Duke here with you. Second half just about ready to go here from Reese Stadium on the campus of Yale University. 3-1 is your score. It was a quick start from Ryder Mills for New Haven, scoring in the 16th minute, and then a hat trick from Mishneder Cherry, lobbing the keeper twice, once in the 23rd, once in the 29th minute, and then the 5th minute of first half stoppage time after David Rosen knocking down Cherry. Mishneder grabbed the ball, put it away, past Justin Hess, and that gives the visitors, well, certainly inroads to try and get 3 road points here, as we are very much at the business end of this 2025 NPSL regular season. 3 changes to speak about for New Haven United, as Claudius Capillari is, well, frankly, not waiting around. Changing his goalkeeper first off, as Constantine Jung will now take over. Jung, who has played in a couple of matches this season in relief of Alex Henrich. This is his 3rd appearance now of the season for the Yale Bulldog. And then 2 changes in the field. Alexi Armas coming off at halftime, as was David Rosen, who's sitting on a yellow card. And Guillermo Mira will check in, so that would be for Armas. And then it's going to be Jason Price, who will come in at right back in replace of David Rosen. And it's a very young bench for the hosts. Mira has played in the last couple of contests for New Haven and has scored in 2 of the last 3. Some of those super dynamic out of the midfield, but knowing how points are crucial right now, if you're New Haven United, you frankly have to go for it here. Just because of the fact that there's only a couple of games left to go in the regular season after today. Home to American Soccer Club New York next Saturday, and then on the road against this very Osner's team in the last day of the season. It's very much going to have to be a change in terms of tactics and just basically try to throw the kitchen sink. I know it's still 43 minutes left to go, but we do have to do a little bit differently here. As this ball played down the channel near side to Khaled Daoud. He's got 2 in the area. But that ball ended up actually traveling over the end line and out for a goal kick. So Jung taking the goal kick, the 6'6" goalkeeper from Germany. Played 1 match of the fall for Yale last season, and he got a clean sheet against Division III Albertus Magnus. Someone that certainly has a very high level of potential. Played prep at Northfield Mount Herman, 12-4 record there in his 1 season of American high school soccer. As Samir Dishnika gets it out wide, this is Preston Alessio. Gets it out to his right foot, and it's just over the bar. Just in a flash, Preston Alessio nearly replicating what he did the last time the New Haven United were at home. Couple of step overs and then banging one into the far corner. Kept it low that time, this time trying to go for the upper 90. Just missing, but it's a sign of intent from the hosts. Again, it's not end-all be-all if it's just a point from it for New Haven, but you need to be putting points on the board, knowing that there is a scenario, and believe it or not, again, we are past the halfway mark in June, but there is a scenario for all 5 teams where they can finish anywhere between first through last, which is crazy to think about. Christian Aragon Ruiz back to Khaled Daoud, but tried to roll it to himself, missed it, and then plays it to Samir Dashnika. Now New Haven trying to play, and not a bad ball actually, but read well by Duhamel Mimi. Got confirmation also at halftime, all the yellow cards that we knew about, but Carlos Martinez and Edgar Guzman each picking up yellows for Osner's FC, then Tyrone Malengo and then David Rosen, who conceded the penalty right on the stroke of halftime. Those are the yellows. But again, the big talking point for this Osner's team is they are susceptible to giving up goals late in matches. Of the 14 that they've given up this season, 7 have come inside the last 20 minutes, including have done that to New Haven this season. And they've also given up 7 points from winning positions, which again, when you look at where Osner's is, with 2 wins and 2 draws from 7 matches played, the fact that they're still in it with 8 points and the fact that they've given up 7 points from leading positions is crazy to think about. If they can just lock it up defensively, then things are going to be good. As Jung electing to punch that away, it's a good punch. Mira trying to scoop that over the top for Dashnika, but just a little bit of a touch from Edgar Guzman. Now Christian Aragon Ruiz. Good step through by Guzman, playing towards Sherry. Good step from Jung. Sliding with the feet, he had to time that right. Mish Schneider has already won a penalty for his side at the end of the first half, nearly getting one there. Mish Schneider Cherry now upping his goal total for Osner's this season in the NPSL to 8. And again, this is, well, match number 8 for Osner's. They finish off with the match. They finish off with matches against Hartford City, home and away. And of course, the final match of the year against this very New Haven club. Chance now for the visitors to break down the right. Good work though tracking back by Malengo to cut it off. Irvin Mondesir just pumping that over the top. Good work by Andre Casas to knock it down to the New Haven goal scorer, Ryder Mills. Casas now been given liberty to press forward. Goes with Alessio, who's got Malengo on the overlapping run. Good strength from Tyrone. Goes back with Alessio. There's 2 in the box. Stead goes short to Mills. Santiago Serrano. But the flag comes up on Guillermo Mira. Really unlucky there because that looked to have been something from New Haven United. Flag cutting that to a bit of a shortened moment. Actually correcting myself, I said Osner's play New Haven again just a moment ago. They don't. They just finished off the season with the home and home against Hartford City. But again, for Osner's, if they are kind of, in essence, control of their own destiny in terms of how they go about the rest of their season, they maximize all their remaining points, they could again, go as high as first in the division, depending on where things happen elsewhere. A large reason for that is because they're playing first and second in the league in all three of their remaining games. That's why, again, especially for New Haven, knowing that they play American Soccer Club home and away, but American Soccer Club New York also played twice before the first of those two meetings. You got to find a way to get something of this match. As Mira tried to slot that through towards Serrano, it's blocked away. But Tyrone Malengo able to get there. There's four inside the box. Not a bad delivery, and that one goes in. Ryder Mills gets his second of the match, and we're not even past 10 minutes going into the half, and it's game back on.
New Haven United FC goal, his second of the day, scored by number 22, Ryder Mills.
Well, it was a brilliant delivery from Tyrone Malengo, but he basically put that right on the head of Mills and made absolutely no mistake about it. Bouncing it past Guli Elied. And you bet if you're Kalitis Capillari, you're saying, get me a goal inside of 10 minutes, 15, you'll take it as well, just to put the pressure on a side that has been giving up goals all season long. The thing is, though, they've also proven that they can score goals, so the flag does come up on Cherry. Some of the Osner fans who made the drive up from the boroughs to be with us here on this Wednesday evening, not pleased about that decision. Well, the referee's going to bring a card out as well. That is going to be against Cherry for delay of game. That is the other thing to note about this Osner's team is they pick up their fair share of yellow cards as well. They don't have that stat official on the NPSL website. You can go basically match by match, but one pattern that you'll see with Osner's matches this year is you're seeing a lot of 90 plus 7 and 90 plus 8 and 90 plus 9, which means you're getting your share of substitution and yellow cards and injuries and other chaoses. Now Sherry, just after getting that yellow, trying to get his fourth, and he has! Mish Nader Cherry with a 4 on this Wednesday evening. And now it's Osner's FC who lead 4-2.
Osner's FC goal scored in the 56th minute by number 13, Mish Nader Cherry.
Class is always permanent. Does not matter what level it is, and Mish Nader Cherry with 4 here on this Wednesday night. And again, as they say in the sport, you are very much susceptible to giving up a goal immediately after you score a goal. And New Haven, well, they had a little bit of a warning sign on them when they gave up, or when they nearly gave up a chance. It was after an offside that stopped that run, but Cherry, when you give him a second chance, well, he's not going to miss. And now, I mean, he had 5 goals in 7 matches for the team coming into this. Cherry actually had played 6 of those 7, so basically now he is more than a goal per game for the club this year. I can honestly say that I've been calling the sport, whether at the semi-professional or collegiate level, for a number of years. I've never actually seen someone at this level score 4 in a match. And I mean, the types of, he's literally scored goals every which way that you could possibly do it. He's lobbed the keeper twice from distance. He scored from the spot. He put away a one-on-one. For any momentum that New Haven United thought that they were gaining by getting that goal from Mills, now all of a sudden they feel like the wind has been taken right out of their sails. And now Watslandi Liazard able to shrug off a couple of tackles. It's a heavy challenge from Morgan, and that will be a foul, as you can hear the clattering from Fleet to Shittengard. Referee saying to Guillermo Mira that it's more of the intent with the studs coming up a little bit. had some big goal scorers in this North Atlantic Conference over the last few years. That ball into an area that Constantine Jung gets palms to it. Last year, Filippo Bellew.
Yes.
A couple of years ago, Alec Hughes from Hartford City hit in double figures. There's that Vallejo team from the 22 season that had a handful of really talented players, actually full Trinidad and Tobago national teamers. The guys are scoring for fun. But yeah, here we are. It's one of those things where a guy can shoot up the scoring charts very, very quickly in this league, and if you could do so by scoring 3 or 4 in a match, you help yourself a lot. Kingston Stockade a couple of years ago that also had a player that hit in double figures. Fordham striker. For some reason, it's just the name is not quite coming to me. It'll probably hit me in about 5 minutes or so from now. I think the NPSL actually just posted the Golden Boot. There is a national Golden Boot winner in this league every year. More often than not, it does come from a player that plays out in the Golden Gate Conference because they play a fair few more matches than everybody else. But it's Nicholas Mikalia of Virginia Dream FC. That's actually a team that probably a few people know about because former U.S. men's national team goalkeeper Bill Hamid was their regular number 1 last year. Another ball looking for Sherry, doesn't get there, but it comes now to Khaled Daoud. Guzman from distance, it's just wide. Well, again, when you're leading by 2 and seemingly scoring from everywhere, you're given liberty to shoot. And, well, Edgar Guzman took that from a long ways out. It was Daniel Diabolito is the man that had double figures for Kingston Stockade a couple of years ago. It's the one. Told you it eventually would get there. I could hear the New Haven goalkeeper saying, you gotta push it. Gotta play with a little bit more urgency. A wild tackle. Referee plays the advantage. Ball forward looking for Mira. And how about that composure from Myson Colo? Myson Colo does ever so well to shield that towards Uli Elian. Cherry, ball over the top looking for Leazard. Good work by New Haven's captain Tyrone Malenga, knowing that there's going to be contact. Foul comes and there's going to be changes now as Mohammed Kane is going to enter for New Haven in the 62nd minute. Anthony Serge Lucien, who will be the first change for the visitors. Deshnika will be the man to come off for New Haven. And it'll be Carlos Martinez who will come off for the visitors.
Substitutions for both teams. For Osner's FC, entering the match number 21, Anthony Serge Lucien, and entering the match for New Haven United, Mohammed Kane. Both substitutions happening in the 63rd minute.
That ball just powered forward by Jason Price. Will go all the way back to Guli Elien. Coming up on About 27 minutes left to go here in the second half. Both teams getting a goal in the second half. New Haven made it 3-2 with Ryder Mills, a header home on Tyrone Malango's cross, and then that man, Nader Cherry, picking up his 4th of the game. Coming in the 56th minute. New Haven do not actually have very many attacking options left on the bench. In total, you have Lior Gurion, Jans Alarcon, who are both defensive-minded players, and then Brandon Carchapola, a Delphi player, midfielder. Still plenty of attacking options left for Osners if they choose to use. Free kick for New Haven. They'll play quickly through Mira. Hesitation, slots it through. Extra pass for Serrano. Just couldn't get it off as he was closed down well by Nyson Kolo. But again, that's showing for Osners where they do have that susceptibilities in the back. They cannot afford to turn off at any point now, knowing that New Haven are basically going to go for broke. What's going to be a difference for them outside of goal difference? Losing by 1 or losing by 3. At this point, you're just looking for results. Brentford Morgan able to spray that out wide that Malango brings down. Casas going short now with Alessio. Interception. Cherry has stayed on side. Germano not able to win it off of him. Nader Cherry. I mean, for a second, you think every time he goes forward, he's got the capabilities to bag another. Certainly 5. That would be out of this world. And that would basically just put him right into the mix for the Golden Boot here in NPSL. Cherry and Lai. It's not a bad area, just no one attacking the far post. Actually, if Nader Cherry just will play the devil's advocate, if you will, if he scores another. I mean, he's already now in 4th place solo in all of NPSL. If he happened to score another, he goes level with Philip Caputo of Joy AC in 3rd. Again, this NPSL league, there are nearly 100 squads at every point in this country, 16 geographical conferences based into 4 regions. That flag will come up on Cherry. Now this is interesting here because he's gonna claim that he was back in an onside position and then Andre Casas made a play on it. But the referee says no. Bit of a break actually for New Haven because that could have gotten a whole lot worse. Halfway mark here of the second half. And Osners 2 wins, 3 losses, 2 draws with 8 points. They currently sit 4th. New Haven United sits 2nd, level on points with New York Shockers, but ahead on points per game. But any drop points right now can see them at the end of the weekend slip as far as 4th. Nice switch to Jason Price here on this near side, trying to round the defender, doesn't. An immediate big switch back across field to watch Landy Leazard. He's got Christian Aragon Ruiz making a run to the back post. Leazard, good save. Kind of an awkward hop in front of Constantine Jung. He was able to parry it wide of the post. But just shows how quick the visitors can go from back to front. I think that was Anthony Serge Lucien who played that big crossfield switch from near to far, if it was. Another player that's got good qualities to him. Another player that played for that Real Hope FA team in Haiti that played in the CONCACAF Champions Cup for each of the last couple of years. There's more subs getting ready to come on. Preston Alessio, the player that will check off for New Haven. him to come off as he just goes right back onto the field. Meanwhile, it'll be Juan Paniagua who comes in the 69th minute. Now it's going to be Jans Alarcon who will enter the match, and that's going to be for Brentford Morgan. Get to those changes in just a second on the PA as that ball hit to the back post. Jung does well to take it and try to play quickly, which he does. It's not a bad idea looking for Santiago Serrano. 1-on-2 at the moment, and Serrano, well, nearly doing ever so well. Good recovery, though, from Duhamo Mimi. Now New Haven, though, can break. Brilliant ping from Mira out wide to Alessio. New Haven need to get going now as Alessio's ball into the box is controlled comfortably. No-look pass looking for Sherry. Well blocked by Agnaldo Germano. Another corner kick to come is taking a slow walk over there is Christian Aragon Ruiz. But Brentford Morgan sitting down as you can just about make out. He's just off your picture right now. Player that came off in the last stoppage, but he has not moved for the better part of the last 2 minutes or so. As Jung gets a strong hand to it, New Haven now chance for them to break. Serrano looking for an option. He's got Mira making a run. He's got a full field switch on. He goes the short way to Guerre. Good tackle though. Claiming the throw is Mason Colo, but does ever so well just to at least stop the attack going any further. Another throw to come for New Haven as they're inside of 20 minutes left to go. Again, chasing the 4 goals scored by Mishneder Cherry. The big man looking to turn as well. And how about that? Pulling out all bags, or all tricks in the bag here is Paniagua. Onto the left foot. I mean, when you're on one today. And Mishneder Cherry is certainly on one. Also, from that back heel, he is just pulled up. This is near half field right now. He's kind of motioning over to the bench, saying that he's all right. I mean, if I'm on 4 goals, I'm staying on as long as possible, trying to get as many as you can before the night is out. Mervyn Mondesir will take the throw. It's going to go short, however. That ball did stay on. Guzman. Step. Mira, lovely skill. He's got Serrano. Instead reverses to Alessio. Might not have been the best decision there. Safety first, though, from Kerwin Mondesir. Again, New Haven, they can't really afford to wait around right now. That will be a free kick in a dangerous area. Needlessly given. And again, we'll state it one more time. This is where Osners have had issues this year, conceding goals in the final 20 minutes of matches. Of the 16 that they've given up this year, 7 have come inside the final 20 minutes. This is where right now, if you're Uli Elien, you really need to just organize your defense. No nonsense on these set pieces. Bad area looking for Serrano. It's cleared away, but it's a foul on New Haven's number 9. Duhamo Mimi going down under the challenge, and it will be a free kick now as Uli Elien will take his time. Whoever's playing tonight at the bowl across the way is some of the louder cheers that I've heard in quite a long time from over there. The facility that, of course, used to host, well, under many names, but for me, the Pile of Pen. It'll be the tennis tournament always right before the U.S. Open. Mira trying to scoop it over the top, looking for Serrano, but again, how about that composure? Mason Colo. Good tackle by Germano as he goes back home. Had to get that one right. Oh, Campa's playing tonight. Oh, that's fun. Well, that would make sense for a good crowd. Serrano trying to get around the edge, but once again, Mason Colo shielding and Elien. This ball only finding a New Haven center back. That was late by Leazard. We'll bring that one back for a free kick. Both teams now going to be making changes. New Haven basically emptying the bench here as Brandon Carchapola and Lior Gurion will enter in the 75th minute. That's going to be Justin Rodriguez. Come on.
Substitutions for both teams entering the match for New Haven United. Number 3, Lior Gurion. Number 7, Brandon Carchapola. Entering the match for Osner's FC. Number 19, Justin Rodriguez.
That was for the big man, Mish Nader Cherry. 4 goals on the night coming off. I mean, he'll deserve a nice shower, a good steak dinner because he did his job today. And he also got a yellow card too, so basically he did everything in terms of trying to get a Gordie Howe hat trick. Now New Haven have 0 substitutes remaining on the bench. Santiago Serrano was one of the 2 that exited in the 75th minute. Tyrone Malengo is going to center back, so that means that Andre Casas was the one that came off, and New Haven's basically now going to a 3-back here. Again, it's everything has to be back to front. That is not a good ball. Very fortunate for Malengo. That was not intercepted. Goes straight out for a throw. Mills has both of New Haven's goals tonight. 16th minute, 54th minute. Mohamed Kane. First real action for him since coming onto the field a few minutes ago. Ball is near channel. Justin Rodriguez just checked on. Here comes Germano, late with the lunge. Does concede the corner. And again, if you're Osners, you're absolutely no rush whatsoever to take any set piece at this point. This 2-goal lead. Had a 2-goal lead in their last match against American Soccer Club New York. Did give up one in the 75th minute of that contest. This was after American Soccer Club also went down to 10 players right before halftime. Header from Mondesir, caught by Jung. And the week before that against AFC-NY, Leazard and Sherry scoring, giving the team the lead in the 51st minute. Then giving up the winner in the 71st after an equalizer came about a few minutes after Cherry's goal. You can hear that. Agnaldo Germano, the former Hartford Athletic Academy and first team product, not happy with that throw. Saying it's got to come quicker and with more steam behind it. Concedes possession. It's still not done and dusted yet for New Haven with 11 minutes of normal time plus whatever's added on for stoppage time. Mira, he'll let one fly from distance, but he got it all wrong. You don't have to force things if they're not meant to be forced for New Haven. Still enough time left to try and generate something. Another change to come is Santiago Hernandez under the fray. This is going to be for Christian Aragon Ruiz.
Substitution for Osner's FC entering the match, number 23, Santiago Hernandez.
Uli Elien, long, good hold-up play as well from Juan Paniagua. Here comes Lucien with acres of space. He's got options either side. He'll have it on his own, right at the keeper. This game certainly with the 6 goals in it between the two teams and plenty of chances as well. One that's definitely been enjoyable for the neutral. With a very good crowd here at Reese Stadium, they've certainly gotten their money's worth. That was certainly on towards Serrano, as keeping it well onside was Mimi. That ball had the right weight and texture to it. Santiago was certainly in, but New Haven will still try and search for answers. Late tackle on Serrano. Free kick to come. No real reason to play short here at this stage. Everything's got to be into the box for those seconds and those knockdowns. This is Alarcon to put it in. It's not a terrible area either. The knockdown was there as Malengo claimed that he was held. Referee, though, looks away from it. Not a bad area, actually, off that set piece, and that's what you're really supposed to do. If you can't get the first, look for the knockdown. Look for something to latch onto in the box. And no foul. Oh, very late. There was some communication to the referee from one of the assistants. Agnaldo Germano was dumped down. Free kick. It's going to be Silnick Pierre who will come on as the next change for the visitors. You also have Juan Catano, who's also available as a field player. It is going to be Pierre that will come on for Watts Mandy Liazard. 83rd minute for the substitution. It's going to be once again Jans Alarcon to send this one in. Alarcon just a couple of moments ago with not a bad set piece for the New Haven Charger. Going to do it again here. Speared away by Osners. Malengo. That's another free kick. Not happy about it was Paniagua. He's got to be careful there. Guillermo Mira will now launch us towards the box. The referee asks for the defender to get away. Mira, not a bad area for Germano. They got to him. Just couldn't have the right direction. coming up now on the final 5 minutes here of this second half. It has been an exhilarating NPSL North Atlantic Conference matchup. Second of 2 matches between these two squads, where New Haven won the first meeting down at St. John's at Belson Stadium by 4-1. Osner is trying to return the favor. The ball was intended for winger Lucien, intercepted by Price. Germano stepping through. Mohammed Kane, who's now gone up front basically as a makeshift striker. It's the area where New Haven probably hurt the most, just with the lack of out-and-out strikers available off the bench. It's a great switch by Mills to find Price. Not a bad ball either. Acrobatic from Colo just to clear it away. Better first touch. Paniagua returns. Could be a 5th coming for the visitors. Shot takes a deflection and Jung will collect. Kane. That's another free kick. It's interesting in terms of the setup with Osner is they're happy to concede these free kicks. Just inviting New Haven more and more opportunities just to send balls into the box. So they're going to play quickly here.
There we go.
Germano close down quickly, finds Price. Oh, it's a good area to Kane, knocks it down. This played through, but not able to latch onto it is Mills. He was asking for Carchapolo to play in front of him. Certainly could have been something there for New Haven, but when you're conceding 4 to arguably the most experienced striker in this conference, start to really rush and snatch at those chances. That's what New Haven have been doing here over the course of the second half since going down 2 once again. And New Haven got it to a 3-2 score line inside of 10 minutes gone in the second half. Foul on New Haven. Maybe it's been dangerous actually. Mohammed Kane almost read that one well. Mundasir is wise. Again, and this is now where I spoke about it earlier with this Osners team. If they could kind of tighten a few screws defensively, the amount of experience that the squad has at a high level, number of players either playing CONCACAF Champions Cup or playing in NISA or playing in Haitian Domestic League or even playing USL teams, they know how to see off a match. So as they clean up a few things, there's a free kick for New Haven. Again, they have to play quickly here. They can clean up those areas and still score goals at the rate that they've been scoring this season. This is going to be a really tough team to knock out if they make it to the postseason. Again, they only have 2 more matches to go, which was almost why today's contest was a bit of a, not a complete must-win, but you had to get something from today. At minimum, a point on the road is not the worst case in the world, but now they set themselves up pretty nicely knowing that they're going to be playing Hartford City home and away, and you get something from those matches, then not only likely you're in the postseason, but there's a strong chance they're going to be hosting at least a match. A heavy touch from Mondasir, but no contest from Price, and he'll try to lob the keeper. Well, Constantine Jung didn't know where he was, but always going wide. You don't mind the effort from Marvin Mondasir. See the keeper off the line, have a pop. Why not? And actually, they're going to say that Jung got a piece of it. It's a corner. And Osner's FC are in absolutely no hurry to take this corner kick, as we're going to 90 seconds away from 90. They're not having anyone short here. They're going to float this into the box. Jung flaps at it. Again, sent back in towards the penalty spot. A brave header away. But Kerwin Mundasir right there to clean it up. And some of the Osners fans happy about the diligence. But it's almost passing in defense. No need to try and push for a fifth. In fact, on the day, on its own, their goal difference now gone to -1. 15 scored, 16 conceded. That 15 scored, by the way, is the most now in this division. New Haven will have a home and home with American Soccer Club New York, and basically those points are at an utmost premium. Losing to that squad a couple of weeks ago down at Hofstra, if they don't win those matches, then, oh dear, Guglielmi, yeah, dangerous, but able to clear his lines. Don't win those matches, then it's going to be really tough to see a route for New Haven United to get into the postseason. The first match is at home, so if New Haven, who they aren't able to turn this result around, they will drop their first decision at Reese Stadium this year. But if they get something from next Saturday, then you just got to see where things are at the final day of the year, knowing that especially this Osners team will be on a bye. So they'll know exactly what they have to do in the final day. As Lucien go around as we are into stoppage time. And actually, of course, didn't see the referee put up the fingers, but probably should be 4 or 5 minutes or so. Oh, that's a nasty collision there. This is going to come back, though. And Mervin Mondesir, excuse me, no, it's Anthony Serge Lucien. No, it is Mondesir who picks up the yellow card in stoppage time. Well, now it's interesting because the referee just said free kick going the other way. So it's a free kick. Oh, dear. And now there's more coming after as Alarcon gets into it with an Osners player. This is where the frustration's now starting to boil over here for New Haven. It was Peniagua who wasn't giving the ball up. As the rains start coming down here in second half stoppage time, New Haven, in the frustrations of the evening, conceding 4 to Mish Nader Cherry, trying to get to them a little bit. Now for the referee to try and sort out all the afters. Because despite all that, it was actually a free kick given to Osners for the original foul. Then there was the yellow card given to Mondesir. Then you had the extras after that. Hopefully everyone here brought their rain gear, because it has actually really intensified over the last minute or so. The umbrella's now starting to come out. Good thing I looked at the radar before I left. I thought that we were actually supposed to have rain any time from after 6 o'clock. Match started on time, we'd be out of here, but it is what it is. Again, we were delayed by 15 minutes, well, 20 minutes of kickoff due to everyone arriving a little bit late because of the accident. As Mara has now gotten through. Good defending. Once again, Mason Colo there. Put an absolute shift here on this Wednesday evening. Mohamed Kane takes the man off the ball. He'll drive forward. Kane. Strong tackle from Hernandez. Ryder Mills. Cleared away. Mills in a really solid match though tonight with 2 goals, his first 2 of the season, going joint for the top with 3 other New Haven players. Price getting into a wrestling match with Mondesir. Now Mondesir, I think that's his 2nd yellow, and it is. So Mervin Mondesir has now been sent off for a 2nd yellow card in the last 2 minutes.
The referee has issued a 2nd yellow and a red card to Osner FC's Mervin Mondesir.
Ultimately, because there's not a whole lot of time left in this match, might not be enough time to really make a big difference into this contest, but Osners will have to be down to 10. And also this is important as well for Osners because then they're going to be without Mondesir on the weekend for their match against Hartford City. Meanwhile, Guillermo Mera off the set piece, headed away. Nice turn from Kane, able to bounce past 2. Muhammad still trying to go on, finds Mera. He goes down, referee waves that away. So ref takes a look at his watch. Alarcon. Locked down well. Dorion just clipping into space. The offside flag. No, that's it. Final whistle goes as Osners FC, 3 crucial points on the road, backed by 4 goals from Mish Nader Cherry. Gives the New York City outfit a crucial result with just only a couple of matches left to go in the regular season. Meanwhile, for New Haven United, where they'll have 1 more home match coming up next Saturday, they're going to need maximum points from that, maybe maximum points the rest of the way, as there'll be a home and home with American Soccer Club to see this one out. Because that's going to do it for us. Thanks for watching this presentation of New Haven United FC Soccer here on the New Haven United FC YouTube page. We'll be here next Saturday for the regular season home finale. Join us live starting at 7 p.m. But for our entire crew, I'm JJ Duke saying so long. Enjoy the rest of your evening.